Hello everybody, welcome back to my Country Sparkles channel. Today I am in my greenhouse and we are going to do some seed starts. I will show you my setup here, but first off I wanted to talk about the seed trays that we're going to be starting in. So there are a couple different types. These ones are pretty large. You can get them smaller or probably larger. These are used seed trays. I use them as many times as I can over the years until they start to crack out the bottom pretty much, and then I toss them and buy new ones. You obviously don't have to save and reuse, but I like to reuse as much as I can. The bottom trays here are to help with water. So our seeds, our starter seeds, are going to go inside of our house and they're going to start growing there because it is snowy outside. It's warmer in our greenhouse obviously right now during the day when the sun's out, but at night it gets super cold. It's still, I don't know, probably gets in the teens to 20s right now, and we are almost to March. So all of these seeds are going to go back into our house. So these bottom seed trays do not have any holes in them. You can buy the seed trays like this with little slits in them to help water drainage, or you can buy them without slits for water drainage. We don't want water drainage on our kitchen counters, so these do not have slits in them. And I don't mind it having a little bit of extra water in it also, because then if I happen to forget to water for a day, then they're tidied over for the next day. It's not the best practice because roots don't like to be super wet, but in our climate it's very dry, and so water evaporates extremely quickly, whereas if we lived in the south or something like that, if plants are sitting in too much moisture, then mold can grow on top of it and the roots can get root rot and stuff like that, and they do not thrive very well in over moistened water. So if you do take them like inside and have them in a tray that doesn't have drainage holes in the bottom, then make sure you watch for that. Make sure they're not too watered and too moist. Once they leave our house and we bring them out to our greenhouse in about a month, then we'll switch the trays over to trays that have drain holes in them, and then we'll be able to water them, and then all the water will drain out just here into our greenhouse onto the ground and evaporate really quickly. Like I said, we have very low humidity here, so moisture normally isn't a problem very often. So that's what we're currently doing, and then we are also doing a little bit of experimenting, because growing any kind of plant is pretty much experimenting. The way you get started is you just start planting something. Some things will grow, some things won't grow. Last year I started a whole bunch of melon plants in starter trays and absolutely none of them grew. It was bad. After doing some research over the winter, my husband and I have more discovered that melon plant starts don't like so much moisture. So we are going to try something new, and with our starts in the house in our trays without slits in the bottom, and we're going to bottom water. So what that means is, so our starts will be in here, but instead of pouring water on top of them, we're going to pour water directly into the bottom and let them soak for like an hour or something, and then we will pour the water out of the pans to let them drain like that. So that way they aren't sitting in water, so they don't have too much water, but they still need water to grow. The main things that you need to grow plants are they need sun. They need sunlight so they can do photosynthesis. We all learned about that, right? And they need water. Everybody needs water to live. All living things need water. And they need nutrients. Sometimes that's given in soil. Sometimes that's given in just fertilizer. But they need some kind of nutrients. So those are the three main things that plants need to grow. So let me stop this video right here, and I'll show you our dirt station, I guess is what we can call it. Okay, so here is our dirt station that we have in our greenhouse. So we just got this old sink out of a basement, and I plugged up the holes, and we now use it for dirt. So this is all of our old dirt from last year. It even has seeds in there that did not grow or sprout from all of our starts, and extra dirt just from different pots and things like that, or things that have died. So all kinds of stuff is in there. That's kind of like used dirt, and so we're going to add some more nutrients back to that. And then we've got our fresh, nice dirt that came from the store. Just bags like this. It's just pretty cheap potting soil. Some has like fertilizer in it, some doesn't. And either way, it's all fresh potting soil. So it's got lots of nutrients in it. And the slots that we're going to be planting in, they're so little the seed starts, they don't need a ton of nutrients because they're not pulling a ton of nutrients from the ground yet. They're just getting started. So this middle area, this is our fresh soil. It's a little bit, has a little bit more moisture in it, and it's nice. This is all dry. We're gonna have to add some moisture to that. And then I've got a little station here that has some bigger pots, but there's our seed starting trays. So I'm filling them all up with this dirt. We're gonna take them inside, we'll do some planting, and then in about a month, we'll bring them back into our greenhouse. It'll still be cold in a month, especially at nighttime. And so we actually have a little mini greenhouse in our greenhouse to compensate for that cold. So in about the end of March, we'll bring them outside. They'll be in here for about another month. And then from there, we will transfer them out and put them on our shelves here in our greenhouse. Here we go, on our shelves, and clean out this area a little bit more. But got some of our summer stuff in here. But by the end of April, it'll be warm enough in here for them to be out here during the day and during night. And even in here right now, our greenhouse, it's up to 110, and we've got little vents that are opening up because it's warm. So a little mini tour of our greenhouse. But that is our planting plan as of right now. So now we're just gonna fill up our trays. And just in case you're wondering, it's super easy to fill up the trays. You can do this one-handed. Take your soil, fill it up. And you don't want to push it down in because you don't want it them to be too hard, and so the plant's roots can't spread out well. So you just want to kind of tap it in there a little bit, make it even on the top, and that's it. And then we'll be able to take little sticks or whatever, poke holes in it, and then that's where our seeds will go. Okay, I'm filling up my seed trays, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite tricks to do to make it a little bit faster, especially if you are doing lots of seed trays. I would suggest, as you can tell, it's spilling over. It's a little messy, so if you're going to do this, just do it inside of like a kiddie pool or something like that. I have the sink to contain all my dirt. So just filling this up, piling it on top. There we go. Just like that. See, nice and piled. Give it a little shake and just shake it all off. Kind of like you're planting for gold, because you know you're planting gold, your gold seeds for your food. And that's it. A couple of these little, oh, that was a chunk. Even those off a little bit, but that's it. All filled. Welcome to the inside of my house. Here are our trays all filled up with soil. This is a brand new tray. As you can tell, super nice and shiny and pretty. This, as compared to this, my last year tray, which the top got melted in my greenhouse. That is just an example of how warm a greenhouse can get, especially in summertime. For our trays, when we plant seeds in them in order to keep them separated and I know where all the seeds are, I have them labeled over here on the sides, like this. We planted these. These are mostly peppers and some other random things yesterday, and today we are going to be planting tomato seeds. So I have all my tomatoes over here, deciding which ones I want to plant. These ones are seeds that I've saved from my other plants. These ones are obviously seeds I've bought from the store. And all you do is you just put one seed in per little slot tray thingy. It's really easy. We just put it on top right there. Now let's take a little knife, make just a little itsy bitsy hole, let the seed drop in, and then fill it over. Super shallow. We don't want it too deep because otherwise that takes a really long time for them to pop out, and sometimes they'll give up before the top of the plant actually comes out. So you don't want it too deep, but you want it covered so you can't see the seed anymore. So we are going to be planting this, and then as I plant, I'm going to be writing in my garden journal here. It's kind of all crazy because it was my mom's. I'm reusing. So this is what we planted yesterday, and I go by row. So this is like, say, tray 2, and starting from the number on the tray on the outside there, the first half of it has peppers in it, and then the second half, row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what is in each row. And I'm going to be doing the exact same thing with these tomatoes, but I'll just do There'll probably be like 2 or 3 rows per variety of tomato, so I'll have like, that's kind of a mess, but row 4, 5, and 6 with whatever type of tomato it is. So that's how I keep track of what my tomatoes are in this area. And when I transplant them to bigger pots, I do pretty much the same thing as this. I use some tape and I write on the tape what it is, and I put it on whatever pot I'm using that year for transplanting. So that is the next step for planting starts for your garden. It's super easy. Pretty much you have soil, a place to plant them. You need to make sure you water them. We also have, because we keep our house really cool, we have our seeds on top of heat mats here, and they really help to make sure the seeds stay warm and they get germinated, and they help moisture stay in there too with the lids. And so I definitely recommend those if you are in a cooler climate like us. We just keep it cooler here. But it's really easy to start, and you just wait for a couple weeks and they'll start to grow and blossom and come up. And then once they get too big for the little areas here, we just transplant them to a bigger pot. Then just do one, I normally just do one plant to a bigger pot. And then from there, when it's warm enough outside, then I move them into the garden. Okay, as you can see here, we have our seeds all laid out, just like that. And then we're going to show you how we just bury them slightly in the dirt. Leave that little hole covered up. It's really not much at all. Super easy. So that's how we bury our seeds. Thank you so much for joining us today as we planted our first seeds of the season. Like I said in the video at the beginning, we start our plants inside and they'll stay inside for a couple months, and then I'm going to move them out to a little greenhouse within my greenhouse because it still stays pretty cold here at nighttime. And then eventually they'll get moved to the big greenhouse and then planted in our garden. As you can see, it doesn't take much effort or even time to start a little garden of your own, so don't be intimidated by it. And gardening is a great place to start if you are just starting out with homesteading or food storage or prepping or anything like that. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so that way next time we can see you and you can see any of the fun videos that we put out. See you next time, guys. Bye.